Hello everyone, welcome to our Let's Play series of Torment, Tides of Numenera. This is Colonel RPG as usual, and I'm very happy that you're chose to join me today because we have a new level up here in Alijern's case, and we also need to still need to find a place to sleep. I'm not really sure where that is gonna be, I have no idea. Can we look at the world map or something from here? I don't think so. Pause menu is this thing. Area map, that's that thing over there. What is that? That's a journal. Then over here, character sheet. Yeah, that's where we're going. Okay, so let's level him up and see what was I gonna do with him. So he's got a lot of skills. So I'm thinking I'm gonna need him to have, what is that? So concentration here, I assume that would be intellect. Cipher use, that'll probably be intellect as well. Endurance, I would say might. I don't really know. Lower machinery is intellect, so I'm gonna need to have him get basically a bunch of these, if I can get that to be the case, because he seems to be quite good at that. And also, he needs a lot of these as well. I'm just gonna focus a lot of intellect on everybody. So let's... Oh, I can't select everything for him. Okay. So I could increase the edge, which gives us free spent points, or improve skill. I think I'm gonna go with just improved edge for right now. The lower machinery would be good, though. But just in general, I think we're early enough in the game where the edge might be quite good. We can't improve edge on speed. It's weird that I can't do that for him. He's talking. He was saying stuff. Stronger than before, I think he was saying. Or something like that. Okay, pretty good. Yeah, I can't really tell. Concentration increase. That might be how I see what it... Oh, it might be because of the color? Innervate. That's all blue. That's resourceful. Yeah. Anyway, we're good. We're good. What were you saying, man? Alijern? Shut up. Let's go back down into the underbelly, because I don't think we have explored everything. Last episode we actually, well, we got a very interesting encounter with a machine that wanted to give birth, more or less, and we helped it give birth. And yeah, we didn't explore everything. Went over there, ladder to the government square. Oh, that's what we saw, that ladder going up. The manufactory over there, and the Alijern's lab. Oh! So Alijern has a lab? Well, Alijern has a lab. Let's take care of the old guy and see what is up with that. I did see this before. And there's the cultists over here. Are these eyes? Okay, let's see what this is. A pair of gauntlets sit on the table. They look as though they are intended to provide real-time analysis and physical monitoring of any human arm placed inside. That's quite interesting. On the shelf is a collection of wafer-thin slides containing cross-sectional cuts of living tissue. Some of the flesh still squirms. This machine collects and collates a variety of samples, preparing a full analysis of their physical, psychic, and dimensional properties. This device appears to store nanospirits and states of energy. It is dusty and unused. And we have mutants and a headless man? What? I don't know what that is. Brar. Crooked Keek. A small, hollow-cheeked mutant sings a soft, wavering tune to herself. Yellow bruises discolor her skin, wounds formed not from violence, but from malnutrition, and her prominent bones bend and twist at odd angles. Still she smiles. She smiles at the oily water devoid of any fish. She smiles as she arranges her empty basket beside her, and she smiles at you when she sees you standing over her. Hello, I'm Crooked Keek of the Cold Canyon tribe. I haven't seen you down here before. I hope you're not here to fish. They're nibbling instead of biting today. And she coughs into her cupped hands, a raw and ragged hacking that bends her double. You take her for a child at first, but after studying her features, it's clear she's in her late teens. It's only some mutation at her bony stature, born of starvation, that makes her seem childlike. Oh, yeah. So, you said you're part of the Cold Canyon tribe. Are they down here too? No, she says lightly. They're all gone, either dead or gone. She still isn't meeting your eyes. Then, there used to be a lot of us. We came here when I was a baby, running from, a war. Yeah, some sort of war that never ends. My parents thought that we would be safe here, but the tribe died off, one by one. She turns away, wiping her eyes. This city is hard on people like us. Oh, I thought... Okay. How was the city hard on your tribe? Well, they were used to living in the wilderness, so they knew what they could eat safely. Here, it's not so simple. My mother told me that 10 people died eating tainted food before we found this fishing hole. She stares into the murky water. Then there's the diseases you can catch in the city, and the hate. A lot of us were killed just for being hard to look at, I guess. Oh, is it as hard for you to survive here as it was for your people? No, she says, smiling. I don't want to eat a lot. I don't have to eat a lot to eat, she says, but I'm more resistant to sickness than my parents were, and people here know me. They leave me alone. Huh. So you said everyone in your tribe is dead? Not everyone, she says with a brave little smile. I'm here, and some of us just left for better places. I bet they're doing really well. So your real name is Crooked Keek? Well, sort of. My parents called me Keek, but the nickname came later. She hunches over, her eyes darting shadily from side to side. It's because I sell junk for high prices and bribe the levies to carry people off in the night. No, not really. People call me Crooked because I look twisted and broken. I wish they wouldn't, but it's okay. I'm crooked, right? She thinks. Don't you mind that people call you crooked? Not really. I can't call them liars, can I? And she smiles, but it's not the radiant thing you saw before. Why do you think the fish aren't biting? The fish down there are pretty fast and smart. They're nibbling at the bait, then swimming away. She watches the line with a combination of hunger and weariness. It's hard for me to get to the pole in time when the rod twitches. The harder to reel in the catch, she says. I'm not very strong. Can I try fishing with your gear? You're welcome to it, she says. Only if you do find something, could you share? She trails off, blushing. Oh, never mind. Company is better than a scrawny fish. Are they really that scrawny? Let's see what I can do here for this little girl. Oh, they're pulling! They're pulling! You see that? Let's go! We're gonna need might for here, or speed. I don't know. This thin, glowing thread pierces the surface of the water and plunges deep into the black depths with like a white line drawn in shining ink. Okay, let's examine the line first. You try flicking the shining string, but your finger goes right through it. Could you try catching something for me? She says. I've had no luck today. Besides, everything down there is pretty much stronger than me. Okay, let's try catching something for Crooked Keek. You pull on the line, and something in the dark below pulls back. You press your lips together and reel in your catch. A muddy cipher dangles from the end of the line. It's beautiful, Crooked Keek breathes. I was just hoping for fish. I can sell it and eat for weeks. Sure, it's hers, I guess. There we go. You pass the cipher to her, and she squinches her eyes shut in unmitigated joy. Oh, thank you! Use my fishing pole whenever you want. Okay, let's tug on the line again. You take hold of the fishing rod and begin reeling in the line, but nothing is on the hook. You might have better luck tomorrow. Okay, let's try again. See if that helps. Nope. Okay. Well, we'll come back here, I suppose. Is this cool? It's a cool place? No, it's just we can't see anything down there. Well, Crooked Keek, I hope you're...
Thanks for getting rid of Calestige. You have no idea what it's like traveling with her.
Yeah.
Though I suppose you've had a taste, even from that short trial.
Hey, Aliturn. I actually didn't know I was supposed to talk to you, but I'll talk to you guys. Let's see. He scuffs his toe with into the ground and looks away. I'm going to say this once. I'm not much of a talker, but, you know, I have questions about your identity. That you're willing to bring me on says something about you. What that is, I'm not sure yet. Still, I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt, and I'll help where I can, clear? Yeah, clear. I really don't want to make enemies with him, because he's just here to help me, so let's go with that. So that's settled. We've got things to do, right? Yeah. I asked you your story before. Not exactly my favorite topic. Fine, ask. So, can you tell me about your history? He watches silently for a minute, considering his words. I'm not from around here. I was a local Aeon priest for a small aldea. Orman, it was called. Far west of here. Things happened. I left. Here I am. Nowhere to go back to, he thinks. Yeah, well, you said things happened that made you leave your village. What things? He shakes his head slowly. I'm not ready to talk about it yet. Okay, so you said you were, an Aeon priest. What's the story with that? I worked with them for years, but when I came to them for help, they refused me. They gave me no time, no resources, and no aid. They said I had to give up my researches. Like, said I was, he bites off the last word, Obsessed, they said. Huh. He thinks. Heartless bastards. How could I not be? He grunts and looks away. The Order of Truth and I don't get on. They think I'm carked and I think they're frauds. We exchange these little pleasantries every time we meet. Only got one friend left here, and I can't even contact him most of the time. Oh, really? What friend? What friend? Can I ask you about the friend? Nope, apparently not. So, why do the Aeon priests think you're carked? Well, because I speak my mind to them. Huh. So who's your friend at the Order of Truth? That's the one. Orthfong. He does a little research for me from time to time. Personal work. Huh, can you tell me about your tattoos? They look almost alive. These? Oh, they're nothing. Call them a consolation if you must. Some call them by worse names, but that's because they've had occasion to run afoul of these little snakes. Yeah, I talked about that before. So let's see. How did you come to travel with Calistege? We also talked to him about that. He was so kind, then... Oh, I don't think I remember this. When the Order of Truth failed me, I sought other help. Calistege was known for finding things, so despite her reputation for being unreliable, I approached her, and she accepted, provided I help her find a way to achieve her transcendence. She seemed so kind at first, but when it became clear neither of us could help each other, she became cruel and spiteful. I don't know why I stayed after that, or why she stayed with me. Habit, I suppose. Huh. Okay, that's it's quite normal, actually. Did you have a relationship with her? He grunts. Well, if you can call clawing and scratching at each other a relationship, then I suppose. His eyes grow far away. It was pleasant at the beginning. I needed solace, and she needed validation, perhaps. But when I failed her, she grew bitter and cutting, and I never heard the end of it. She used her words like a whip, and she cut me down to the bone. Yeah. Okay. Can I ask about your history? So I can't ask about anything new. Okay. Other questions? So, yeah, I could ask about the other guy, whatever his name, Tylin, something. How are you holding up? As well as can be expected. Pretty cool. Pretty cool that we can ask that. What about Saga's Cliffs? Well, I haven't got much to say about this place. I moved here because I needed to, but it's a sewer. I hate it. How's that for a thought? Been my home since I came here, and I can't seem to escape it. Why don't you leave? Why don't you mind your own business? That was actually... So, okay. That's... I want to talk about the people we're traveling with, if we have to. What do you think of Tibir? A liar, and I know nothing. At least he doesn't expect you to hold up your side of the conversation. Very true, says Tibir. I can entertain myself and countless others for hours. Good. Why don't you go looking for them? Okay, forget it. Let's continue. Good plan. Okay, so I really wanted to talk to Crooked Keek over here and see if she says anything different. What's new? She looks up at you with a dazzling smile, but not fast enough to conceal the sorrow that was on her face before. Yeah, as I figured. She's just, you know, putting up a barrier. Probably for herself as well as for others, but, you know, that's how it is. That's how it is. We have a pauper over there, and we have Tibir. Let's have a chat with him.
Thanks for helping me free Riss, lad. Not that the little ingrate appreciated it.
Yeah. So, was it like Riss said? You only freed him so you wouldn't be implicated? Well, I'd be a liar if I said that wasn't part of it, he says, looking at his boots. But I really do care for the boy, and wouldn't wish him harm for all the world. And I could have run. He chews his lips. I could have. Probably not far, though, he thinks. Yeah, you could have. That's true. Do you think he will make good on his threats? Should we be watching our backs? Well, I wouldn't worry about it, he says, chuckling. Riss doesn't have as many friends as he thinks he does. I was practically the only one. Well, unless he makes friends of my enemies, he thinks. Best not to think about it. It wouldn't happen. He probably won't, actually. He probably won't, but then again, what we know. I don't know if there's side quests for the companions in this game. There weren't in Tyranny, but of course there were in Pillars of Eternity, and there were in Divinity Original Sin, so you never know. Of course, multiple different companies, but you never know. I'm afraid I'm inclined to believe Riz' side of the story more than yours. Are you? Tibir says, then shrugs. Well, you're certainly entitled to your opinion. Yeah. I actually think I think his side of the story was probably better, or at least more towards what the reality was. He wasn't lying, Tibir wasn't, but you never know. It's like he's just saying I have truths, I guess. Tell me about yourself. Sure. So you're a captain? Oh, retired, he says, raising his hands in surrender. I've been on my own, more or less, for a handful of decades now. Still, having a captaincy under your belt opens doors, lifts dresses, and drops trousers, so I tend to wave it around whenever I can. Huh. So what's your story? Oh, the usual. Farm boy joins one war or another, he doesn't die, but gets a sound spanking by the world until he learns to spank it back. Yeah, I want to hear more about your background. And I don't blame you, he declares, clapping you on the shoulder. But I'll warn you, I've never had a handle on what people consider too much information. His smile crinkles the corner of his eyes. Never looked for one either. He claps his hands. Go on, ask your questions. I've got answers for everyone. Okay, tell me about your life as a soldier. Well, I wasn't the best or the worst, he says with a shrug, but I started at the bottom, fell out the side, and ended up as a gallows glass on my own. Okay. It's not an easy life, he sighs, being a mercenary, but you try to fight for causes you believe in and avoid striking blows that aren't deserved, and you try not fail both while the realities of life batter you into new shapes, change you. Some of the best days of my life, those, he thinks, despite the tears. The tears, huh? I wonder. So you said the realities of life changed you? How? Well, not one for the light questions, are you? He rubs his hands together. My father raised me to be honest. Well, honesty works on a farm. Animals don't lie to you much, as a rule. But as a soldier... Put it like this. First night in the camp, I was mugged by my sergeant and left for dead. All because I thought an honest face meant an honest heart. Well, it's the honest ones you have to watch out for, he thinks. Yeah, that's true. So I've adapted my approach over the years. I reward kindness with kindness, cruelty with justice, and foolishness with object lessons on the ways of the world. He winks, but there's something somber there. Everyone has their lessons to learn in this life. Best that your teachers are kind men, I will say. And yours weren't. Well, he repays kindness with kindness, so I think we can trust him. I think he's gonna be a loyal friend. If we can trust him. Although he might be playing us. I don't know that's the case. I don't know. InXile is not really one to write this sort of stuff. This sort of double-handed stuff. If he is playing us, then this is exactly what he would want. I mean, you know what I mean? It's just too obvious. Too, you know? I might be reading too much into this, but... So, who have you fought for? Whew, he says with a misty look at the air. I've fought for a number of causes over the years. My first fight was alongside the rugged cattlemen of the plowshares, trying to keep the slave families of the Saga's protectorate from getting their hands on the bird folk's grazing land. But I've been all over the map, and off the edges too, having good times and bad. Went with the Ailu rebels, the White Company, even fought in the Endless Battle for a while until I figured out my commander was lying to me. Walked away from a hefty purse on that one, I'll tell you, but it was the right thing to do. And the safest. And the sanest. Should have left even earlier, he says. Pay or not pay? Yeah, you should have. Yeah, you should have. Can you tell me about the Endless Battle? Yeah, we have heard of this before, but not really too much information on that. Of course I can, he says, but for a moment it seems he won't. His mouth works, but no words come out. Interesting. I actually do that myself. Oh boy, I know what he feels. It was more a nightmare than a war, he says at last. We marched out one morning to take a certain hill, and we took it. He winces. Then a shivery little ripple crossed the battlefield, and we were back on the march, heading for the same hill. Only this time, the other side routed us. I lost this arm. He shows it to you, smooth and unmarked. What? You think our commander would have given us the rest of the war off? But no. His eyes go hard and grim. She kept making us fight until the waves of time died down, and we took that damned hill and held it. He smiles wearily. I'm certain I died a few times myself. But here I am still, whole and handsome as ever. Oh, so it's the dimensional things. Man, that's gonna be a complete mind screw. Oh my god, if the game plays with that, I hate that. Actually, I mean, not from a storytelling perspective, but just to get my head around it. Just, you know what's going on in here? This is terrible. And what happened before as well with the other girl? She was killing Aligern in other dimensions. It's Oh, I hate it because I don't know what to think of this. But yeah, he's back. I mean, I only have one dimension right now, so I'm not sure if the Changing God can actually see too much into different dimensions. It might be just a... I don't know. What's the point of the endless battle? Well, the fighting itself is pointless, says Tibir. All those lads and lasses dying for a cause centuries old. He smirks sadly, his gaze distant. Now, I know I just described any war, but we both know that certain people make a tidy profit from bloodshed on a grand scale, and the endless battle, well, it's endless, and that makes it endlessly profitable. That's interesting. It would be interesting if it were used like a sort of you know, a source for profit. Although I don't really understand how it's endlessly, I don't really understand where he's coming from, but it makes sense. Yeah, war is always very, very profitable for some people, and not just for the warlords. From the, you know, from the point of view of countries as well. Even if a country is losing a war, it still can keep countries going. It's interesting how some fictions, you know, make a stance on the profits of battle. Of course, I don't know about this endless battle, but we'll see. Let's see if I have other questions. Tell me about your background. And I don't... No, wait a minute. That's the same thing I did. I want to hear a story from your past. You do? He says, taken aback, but he recovers quickly. Oh, of course you do, he says, and strokes his mustache. Oh, he's got a mustache. I didn't know. I didn't notice. Which part? Tell me about your first battle. I nearly missed it. As I said, my sergeant knocked me out, stripped me naked, and hit the road with his friends and all the best weapons and armor in a stolen wagon. He clucks his tongue fondly. I woke up with a throbbing head and blood in my eyes to, well, the new sergeant screaming, and I'd best throw on a sack and grab a stick because the protectorate was coming. I can't recall much about the battle itself. Lots of screaming, and most of it mine. I remember hitting a number of heads with that stick, and lost the sack at some point. No one seemed prepared to comment, what with all the dying. Oh boy, at any rate, the protectorate kicked our teeth in and drove us back to a little herd town in that far eastern end of the plowshares. Well, the herd folk there, they were doing all they could for us, feeding us, binding our wounds, because, well, we'd been defending their town, hadn't we? He spreads his hands. Trying to, at any rate, but they didn't know that the protectorate had also stolen all of their anine for provisions, the whole herd, and was headed south with them. Come winter, those folks were going to starve to death. How the herd got stolen is a different tale, he thinks. Villains on all sides, we were. He shifts uncomfortable. My commander wasn't going to tell him, but I couldn't stand it. We were meant to be the saving of these people, and here we were robbing them just as surely as the protectorate had. So that night, the new sergeant and I borrowed 2 rasters and a sonic punch and flew south until we found the stolen anine, I mean. We dived the herd until they bolted, then chased them all the way back north. What a young hero I was. What a fool, he thinks. We nearly got knocked out of the sky a dozen times by their fire throwers, but we were sure that once we got the anine away, they wouldn't dare turn back for them. They knew we were being reinforced the next morning, you see. How we got demoted for that stunt, and we both got a week in the brig besides. But those herd folk were damn grateful. Some of them, several times. Oh yeah, who's Aveen or Ovi or something? Huh? He says, eyebrows climbing. Oh, let his name slip, didn't I? Avigny, or Aveen, or something, was the old sergeant I mentioned. First, we were partners, then, more than that, by the long shot. He sinks his thumbs beneath his belt. But, well, you know things, they change. Grinning, Tibir shakes his head. I haven't thought about the man in years. That was why I hadn't thought about him. Too hard. Yep. So, I want to hear about some of your mercenary work. Well, too many stories in that sack to tell in a single sitting, he says, scratching his head, but I'll stick to one with the least amount of back alley murderers. It's too lovely a day to grim tales of bloodshed. It was just after I'd left the military life. I was desperate to make a name for myself as a mercenary. Too desperate, as it turned out. I was drinking in my favorite bar and felt a soft touch on my shoulder. It was a lady, Navarrene nobility, she said, and in need of a bodyguard. And that body, those eyes. I accepted it on the spot, of course. She tried telling me why she needed me, something about assassins at the ball, but I was too busy watching her hips shift beneath her dress. I followed her around the ball with barely a thought in my head. Then halfway through the party, she excuses herself and comes back in different clothes. He chuckles, though there's no humor in it. She tells me that to anyone who asks, I'm her husband, Baron Giusk of Navarine, and that we have to leave immediately. We worked our way towards the door, but were stopped by the host of the ball and a phalanx of city guards, and they demanded to know who I was. Terrified, but right on cue, I say, I am Baron Nikusk of Gavralin, and this is my knife. No. It's just... Oh boy. He shakes his head. 30 days in the blocks as an accessory. Turned out she'd stolen a fortune in leaving gems from an upstairs bedroom. She wasn't any kind of noble, just a common, beautiful thief. And the next time I saw her, he thinks she was dead. Life isn't fair for anyone, and that's the truth. How about one of those good times you mentioned? Oh, I've had plenty, he says, running his teeth over his lips. But more good times than bad, even as a gallows glass. But of course, there is one that stands out. But he isn't smiling now, despite his words. My partner at the time, my old sergeant, and I heard a scrap brewing on the border between two mercenary armies over territory. He scratches his mustache. We got there and knew it was going to be a bloodbath the moment someone went for a weapon. They'd been rivals for too long, see? It's a sad, sad thing to see professional killers turn violent. Now, I was thinking we should get back on the road and as far from the fight as possible. But my partner, he was a tinkerer. A soft gleam rises in his eyes. He had these 2 rings he was messing with at the time, claimed they could blink minds. He wanted to plant one on each side, you know, get them seeing things from others' point of view. I couldn't talk him out of it. He snuck around in the dark of night, cursing and thumping, set up the damn things in the rival camps, and ran back to our distant hill to watch. He rubs his eyes. And all night long, we heard strange things. Sort of wet sounds, you know? Laughter, happy, sighing. He runs his hand through his hair. Then dawn came, and there was a different kind of war going in the mud below. He flashes a grin. The kind where everyone wins. Turns out that once they got a taste of each other's thoughts, they found out that they hadn't wanted to fight each other after all. Well, not exactly. And that was Ovi for you. He finishes with a touch of smile, always bringing out the truth in people. A better man than I deserved, certainly, he thinks. Huh. Well, actually, I guess it's gonna be that, isn't it? Let's talk about something else. See if I can ask something. Oh boy, there's a lot of stuff to see from these guys. I kind of wanted to finish these in this episode, but let's ask him how he's holding up. Well, I'm fine, lad. I just hope you won't regret our friendship when the time comes to part ways. I hope not, man. I hope not. What are you doing here in Saga's Cliffs? Well, to tell the truth, and the phrase seems to take him by surprise. To tell the truth, I'm not sure anymore. Maybe it's time to move on. What are your strengths? Well, I can hold on my own in a fight. I have a gift for words, as you may have noticed. And I'm not averse to the odd con or two, if you spot one worth pulling. Huh, sure. I want to talk about Aligern. Oh, gossip and backbiting, is it? I'm always game for that. Who do you want to talk about? Aligern, yeah. Oh, he's so serious, isn't he? Tibir shakes his head. There's no point in frowning all the time. Life's hard enough. I smile, says Aligern. You might give some thought to why you, personally, never see me doing it. Well, if I ever get around to thinking about you, I'll let you know. These guys. Oh, boy. Anyway, I have additional questions. Let's see if I can go with that. What do you want from me, Tibir? Well, at the moment, all I want is a way out of Saga's Cliffs and some friendly company. You seem to fit the bill on both accounts. A free ride and a strong arm on my side, he thinks. Seems like a good enough reason, I guess. But I guess that's gonna be that. See you later. Absolutely, no problem. And with that, it is time to end the episode. I am Colonel RPG, and this has been Torment, Tides of Numenera. I really hope you've enjoyed it, and if you did, go ahead and leave a comment, like the video, but above all, thank you so much for watching, and I hope I'll see you next episode. Bye-bye.